Someone else's fault by Aaron Golden. We used to say if it's to be, it's up to me. Now we say it's not my fault. If someone calls them out, they say you're judging. If life gets hard, they say they're being attacked. Growth only happens when you stop pointing the finger and start using that hand to build something. But this generation mastered the blame game. It's always someone else's fault. Even failure isn't what it used to be. Failure used to be fuel. Now it's a social media post and a GoFundMe link, the death of personal responsibility. There was a time in America when taking responsibility for your actions wasn't considered heroic. It was considered normal. It was the baseline expectation of what it meant to be an adult. When something went wrong in your life, the first question you asked wasn't who can I blame, but rather what could I have done differently. This wasn't masochism or self-flagellation. It was the recognition that personal agency is the foundation of personal power. Today we've witnessed the systematic dismantling of this fundamental principle. Personal responsibility has been replaced by a complex web of victimhood narratives, external blame, and the desperate search for someone else to hold accountable for our circumstances. We've created a culture where admitting fault is seen as weakness, where taking ownership is viewed as self-harm, and where the default response to any setback is to immediately scan the environment for a scapegoat. The shift didn't happen overnight, it's been decades in the making, carefully cultivated by institutions, media, and social movements that have discovered there's tremendous power in convincing people they're victims. When people believe they're powerless, they become dependent on those who promise to fight their battles for them. When people believe their problems are always someone else's fault, they stop looking for solutions and start looking for saviors. The modern blame game operates on multiple levels simultaneously. At the individual level, it manifests as an inability to accept criticism, learn from mistakes, or acknowledge personal shortcomings. At the cultural level, it shows up as group grievances, historical blame shifting, and the endless parsing of who owes what to whom. At the institutional level, it appears as bureaucratic finger-pointing, corporate scapegoating, and political blame shifting that would make a middle school playground look mature by comparison. Been damaged, we've lost the very mechanism by which human beings grow, improve, and overcome obstacles. Personal responsibility isn't just a moral virtue, it's a practical necessity. It's the difference between being a protagonist in your own life story and being a victim of circumstances beyond your control. The victim Olympics, perhaps nowhere is the modern blame game more evident than in what can only be described as the victim Olympics, a competitive sport where participants fight for the gold medal. And suffering, oppression, and external blame in this twisted competition, the winner isn't the person who overcomes the most obstacles or achieves the greatest success despite adversity. The winner is whoever can most convincingly argue that the failures, shortcomings, and lack of progress are entirely the result of forces beyond their control. The rules of the victim Olympics are simple but perverse. Points are awarded not for resilience but for fragility, not for overcoming challenges but for cataloging them, not for taking responsibility but for deflecting it. The more elaborate your explanation for why your circumstances are someone else's fault, the higher your score, the more historical grievances you can invoke, the more sympathy points you accumulate, the more you can demonstrate that you're powerless to change a situation, the more likely you are to receive external validation and support. This competition has created a perverse incentive structure where victimhood becomes a form of social currency. In many circles, being oppressed is more valuable than being successful. Having grievances is more respected than having achievements. Being able to articulate why you can't succeed is more admired than actually succeeding. We've created a culture where the victim's crown is more coveted than the victor's laurel. The participants in these games have become incredibly sophisticated in their blame-shifting techniques. They've learned to weaponize theory language, turning concepts like trauma and triggers into shields against criticism and accountability. They've mastered the art of intersectionality, creating complex trees of oppression that make it virtually impossible for anyone to challenge their victim status without being accused of insensitivity or bigotry. But perhaps most damaging of all, the victim Olympics have created agent of people who are genuinely convinced that their lack of agency is real.